This is casually explained. Is she into you? About women.
I know a lot of guys have trouble picking up on the signs of whether or not a girl is into them, so today I want to do a little quiz so you can see if she actually does like you, or even just how good you are at recognizing signals that you might be getting.
Oh boy.
Let's say you're in a bar and you look across the length of the counter and you see a cute girl who glances at you briefly, does a quick hair
Very
flip,
cute.
and then turns back to her friends. Is she into you? Eye contact is obviously a good sign, but you really can't tell from this example.
Yeah, I can't tell. I cannot tell.
She could just be adjusting her hair, and maybe she was looking at someone behind you. So let's say you're at the office and your cute coworker is waiting behind you to make some copies of whatever people make copies of, and she
Buy your
says,
drink though to figure it
"Wow,
out."
do you think you could go any slower?" And then playfully punches your arm. Is she into you?
Yeah, you can't tell.
You can't really tell from this example either. She might like you, but she might just be giggling and punching your arm as a sarcastic middle school throwback. So really no way to tell.
Yeah, it's a fun thing.
Okay.
As long as she's not actually assaulting you.
Okay, so let's say you're at the gym on the elliptical for some reason, and Cutie McBooty comes in and gets on the exercise bike in front of you.
All right.
And then after 5 minutes, she looks back and says, "Wow, I'm so sweaty already. If only there were a way to get the same workout at home riding something else." And then gives you a wink.
Yeah,
She into you? Yeah, I still can't tell with that one.
Oh! Yeah, probably not. No, can't tell.
Exercise equipment is pretty expensive, and maybe she lives in a small apartment and just doesn't have space. So
Is this a play on how dense men can be?
maybe you find a good
Or is this a play on how it's very dangerous to kind of assume women like you?
deal on rowing machine somewhere. You can show her the flyer. Okay,
It's
so
both,
let's say you
maybe?
meet up with a friend that you've had coffee and drinks with a couple times, and she says, "I had a lot of fun on the last few dates we went on." That's
You're
a good
dating.
sign because she thought those hangouts were actually dates. So suppose then she says, "How'd you like to come back to my place and watch Netflix tonight?" That's another good sign. It's usually a pretty good indicator when a girl invites you to do something, especially at her place. So then let's say later at her house, you guys are watching Wall-E or something like that, and she says, "I'm getting pretty bored. Why don't you come upstairs with me?" That's another great sign. She probably has something pretty interesting to do upstairs if it's better than watching Wall-E. So then after you go up there,
It's a good movie.
all of a sudden she pushes you onto her bed, dims the lights, rips off her clothes, and you start having sex.
Okay.
Is she into you? Yeah, again, you really can't be
This is the stupidest. This is so
too
stupid.
sure. It's pretty dark in the room, so she can't really see you properly.
Maybe
Maybe she's from Canada and was just being polite.
Oh my god.
Anyway, best bet is to
Can't
just keep your
tell.
wits about you and continue to look for signs.
Okay, honestly, continue to look for signs. I have learned something today. That as a woman, if you like someone, maybe it's a good idea to just tell them. Even though it's kind of hard to say. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this one is one of the stronger indicators and most obvious ones that you can kind of do something about. Like, you can approach the situation. This one, you're literally dating them. Yes, this one, if you catch eye contact with somebody at a bar, and you do a hair flip, and like it's prolonged, and then they start talking with your friends, try to buy them a drink, and there. This one's pretty obvious for me. This one's like actionable. No, I don't think it's obvious. This is wrong, but this is at least actionable. This one is not actionable because this is a coworker. This is the most actionable thing on earth. Do something. This is your dating. You would actually notice what a hair flip is. I don't think it's the hair flip that does it. Let's do the red flags. I think
In dating and relationship,
if she starts like playing, touching her face a little bit and like smiling, or she's, pushing her hair, fiddling, I don't know. You can't tell, but you can do something about it. You can do something about not being able to tell. This is the red flags video.
in dating and relationships, a red flag is a small
Dude,
thing.
hold on. I'm so sorry. You can hear this guy click on Audacity to start the recording. You can hear it. Do you hear that?
In dating and relationships, a red flag is a small thing you notice in someone else's behavior that's symptomatic of a bigger problem. The
Yeah.
trouble is that oftentimes a red flag can be hard to pick up on because red flags aren't only what someone does, they can also be what they don't do. And some red flags are certainly worse than others, so I want to start with the more mild ones and move up from there. Assuming you start with a blank white flag, at the lowest level we have red and white flags, which are just small quirks or inconsistencies that aren't bad, just kind of weird. Things like they don't lick the yogurt off the lid, they use Internet Explorer, they hold the door open for you as soon as they see you park your car,
Oh shit. That's a pretty high red flag, honestly.
or they're apologetic even if something is your fault.
Oh, that is, you know what? That's interesting. That is a pretty big red flag.
Basically, if it can be explained with, oh, Canadian, then it's probably in this category. So let's get
The apologizing for something that like you do, that's trauma.
started on the serious stuff. Low-tier red flags. A low-tier red flag is something that's probably bad, but not necessarily a complete deal breaker. They don't laugh at your jokes. I thought this was just normal, but they say if a girl doesn't laugh at your jokes, she probably isn't very compatible with you. If a girl is really into you, though, she'll likely laugh at all your jokes, even if they're not very good.
Oh?
They have a secretive past. This depends a lot on how communicative the person is. They might just be anxious about sharing personal details, but if they have no problem talking about anything and everything except their past, it's either something they don't want you to know, which is pretty bad, or they're a Russian spy, which is pretty hot.
Something to be said there. I do have to agree. Mixed
putting
flag.
you on a pedestal, that is
Oh, this is awful. I really don't like when anyone does this.
to say they think you're way out of their league. This one's obviously more common for guys to do to girls, but it can go
Is
the other
it?
way around too.
Oh no, I feel like this is pretty common both ways.
Imagine I was in bed with a girl.
I know a lot of girls who do this, and it's so fucking obnoxious. I'm like, girls who get really obsessed with a guy, and I'm like, you're idolizing this person.
Just gonna let that sink in. Imagine I was in bed with a girl.
Oh.
Just gonna let that sink in.
Oh boy.
Imagine I was in bed with a girl and she
Thank you for the
whispered,
visual.
"Oh my god," casually explained, "Tell me again about how many subscribers you have."
Oh.
Of course, that would be a huge turn on, and I have dreams about that, but it's probably going to be a pretty one-sided relationship. Think of how celebrities almost always date each other, even though they could be with any fan they wanted. They have the same last name as you. That's a bad sign
It's a pretty bad
in
sign.
most places.
Unless it's like Smith, I guess.
All right, mid-tier red flags. These are a bit
The same last name.
more serious and are usually harder to
Most
overcome or
places.
talk about.
Sweet
Tread
home
very
Alabama.
carefully if you notice any of these. They're a stripper. On paper, it might sound well and good, but when it inevitably doesn't work out, you'll realize that from now on, you can only pay for things by card.
Oh dear. I have never known a stripper, although some of the content creators I watched have talked about that. The people I don't expect to have been strippers, I watched these people for years and they're like, oh yeah, when I was like 18, I became a stripper. And I'm like, whoa.
Worth it.
When he's
They don't
filthy.
have any
Ugh.
independence. That is to say, if they have no interests or hobbies or ambitions in their life, it's likely they'll try to involve themselves in every moment of yours, which will eventually weigh you down and get in the way of your goals. Kind of like Reddit.
Yeah. Oh.
They trash talk their
Yeah,
ex a
Reddit will
lot
do
early
that.
in the relationship. This is usually an indicator they're still
Oh, my ex was like too hot. Oh my god. It's doomed.
emotionally invested in their previous partner, and it can be very difficult to build a new relationship from the rubble of an old one. Got that from Tumblr.
Thanks, Tumblr. I don't date people, and therefore I have zero experience of what I would or would not like in a partner, which is not good at my age. Very bad.
Using ultimatums.
Whoa,
These are
whoa,
saying
did you
things
see
like,
that?
you have to do X or I'm
Subliminal
gonna do
message.
Y. You have to watch out though, because that's like me saying, if you don't subscribe, I'm not going to be your friend, which I would never say.
Like, comment, and
I
subscribe.
think.
Oh, of
All right,
course.
next is high tier
Must
red
have been the
flags.
wind.
These are the ones that are complete deal breakers and are pretty much always non-negotiable.
Wait, hold on, guys. Can I hear some of your like non-negotiable red flags? I'm so curious. I have so many red flags that are absolutely like negotiable. where I'm like, yeah, give dead water and cereal. That's pretty bad. Smoking? Mean to friends. Oh, mean to customer service. Yeah. Wanted. Yeah, maybe a criminal record. If they have like holes punched in any of their walls, it's an immediate fucking no. Like, if there's any holes in their walls. Alien. She isn't subscribed to Sunny Explosion on both Twitch and YouTube. That's true. Kids, yes, that's a deal breaker for some people. That is not a deal breaker for me though. Because I unfortunately think that I can deal with anything. Doesn't shower. Oh, hygiene. Oh, actually, I'm not gonna lie. Hygiene might be like the biggest deal breaker for me. Forced me to choose everything to do. Oh, indecisive. Oh, yeah. Yeah, indecisive hurts. Her dick is bigger than mine? Damn. I would say that's a deal breaker for me, but like basically everyone's dick is bigger than mine. I don't have one. Damn. But yeah, I guess if I wouldn't even say if her boobs are bigger than mine. Because high key, that's a tall order. We're gonna hear Casually Explains red flags. We're gonna hear his complete no-goes.
They're married.
They're married.
Into that. They're already pregnant. Unless you're into that.
Right.
They're under 18.
No.
This isn't just a red flag, it's a felony, but if you do find yourself attracted to girls who are still in high school, great way to get over that is to talk to one of them.
That's fucking hilarious. No, this is totally true. I can't talk to anybody who's like younger than the age of 21. And it's true. It's true. After a certain, I mean, like, here's the thing. Kids I used to babysit at my old church. I went and I talked to recently, and they are 20. I guess they would have to be 17. But still, I was watching them when I was like, you know, they were like, what, 5? I'm like, bro. And once you have that perspective, life experience, you realize, yeah, you just talk to people your age.
They treat waitstaff poorly.
Ah,
I think
yes.
being mean to other people in general is a good sign of how they're going to treat you in the future. And I know that'd be hard to deal with because my self-esteem is based on what other people think of me.
Ah, well,
if you don't
that's
like
a red
their
flag.
friends, people tend to be friends with people similar to them. And if someone surrounds themselves with unsavory individuals, it tells you a lot about that person.
Ah, the Minesweeper. That's a good one.
Now, after a long time, eventually you might find that after going on date after date or going through relationship after relationship,
oh boy,
even just after meeting a lot of new people, you start to think, it really seems like pretty much everyone I meet has something wrong with them. They don't get me. They always have problems that they don't think are problems. I can't connect with them at all. And why can't I find someone who's not such a disaster?
Unfortunately, it's you.
This is the maximum tier red flag. It's actually just you. This might sound pretty bad, but in a way, realizing that you might be a bit more responsible than you previously thought is the first step to becoming a more wholesome person and having better relationships with other people. And if you have a friend who shared this video with you, now is the moment where you reflect on whether they thought you'd find it funny and interesting, or if they're trying to passive-aggressively tell you something.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's the song. Do. That was good. I have to say, these were some good red flags. I feel like he could have had some more. But yeah, this was good. A lot of these are dating, but let's do the first dates one.
First dates are very exciting, but also stressful for everyone involved. For guys, for girls, and for any nosy bystanders who can't mind their own business. And as one of those people, I wanted to create this as a bit of a primer for first dates. Whether you've never been on a date before and want to know what to expect, or if you're a veteran of the dating scene and just want to figure out what's wrong with you. So of course, before you even go on a first date, you have to ask someone out. And there's a million ways to do that. In person, over the internet. That's pretty much it, really. You'd rather get a yes or a no.
Yeah.
And it's as simple.
Yeah, it does suck. There's no real ways to... I don't know how people meet other people. That's the reason why I've been single for 8 years, is because I don't know how to meet anybody. And it's like you have the like I'm gonna download Tinder.
Simple as that. And the good news is that if you do get a yes, you're already ahead of the game because the other person is saying they like you, or at the very least, you're passably better than a vacant time slot. Now, the first consideration is, of course, where you're going to go and what you're going to do. And
I will say people are tend to be very, very happy with their time and entertained nowadays, which makes it hard. You know, where we have endless entertainment.
In my opinion, you should really choose a date activity that reflects how well you know the other person. Like if you met by limp-wristedly flicking your index finger across a cracked iPhone, then there's nothing wrong with ice cream and a walk in the park because we all know you're there to see how they eat soft serve. On the other hand, if you've been platonic friends for 5 years hoping your next haircut is the one that will tip them over the edge, you better have a lot of alcohol planned because your current personality just isn't cutting it.
Ah, that sucks.
So the most classic date idea is, of course, dinner and a movie. But unless you interpret that with multiple layers of euphemism, it's a bit cliche for a first date and a bit too reminiscent of its old school origin, which is getting married before you're 22, raising a family, and making God proud, which just isn't up to date with today's poor and sinful youth. I think your best bet is going with coffee, drinks, or a quick bite to eat, but
that sounds awesome.
It doesn't hurt to eventually try to expand your repertoire. I think it's a really smart idea to...
I do like the movies because then you don't have to actually talk. But the only issue is that like every movie that comes out recently seems to kind of suck.
Come up with fun activities that you can do together so you can focus on doing the activity instead of worrying about what to say. A few of my favorites include drunk paint night, drunk baking, drunk Lego, and drunk stand-up comedy. The common element being, of course... They're all things I do when I'm alone. Now, that brings us to the real nitty-gritty of a first date, which is how you're supposed to act. And you might have heard the old classic turn of phrase, just be yourself. And this is...
Don't do that. Don't. Be fake. I'm kidding. You should want to talk with your date. Is that why the movies are bad? Because I don't know what to talk about. Halt there, partner. My name is Sunny. I'm here to... You're under arrest for not being subscribed to the channel. If you could give me a sub, I would appreciate it. Because it costs $0. All right, partner. Carry on your merry way.
Reasons, but what I think it really means...
Wait, okay, hold on. This is a terrible idea. Reasons why you should not be yourself on a first date. You would be at home playing Far Cry right now. You're anxious enough to throw up. You think people think you suck at cooking, but you're actually not that bad. You're told to be yourself in response to how should I act, which led you to ask a question. Almost every common date centers around talking to some degree of your state-altering drug in order to be a better version of yourself. That's true. You wouldn't be wearing pants. Probably just not on a date. You'd probably just not be on a date in general. Being yourself and being by yourself are easily confused. It might make someone feel sad if they are synonymous, bro.
Multiplicity of reasons, but what I think it really
What the fuck was that last one? You're the type of person who paused this video to read a list of reasons. Made it this far to the list because you're at least not in agreement on enough previous videos that continue reading it, indicating a tendency towards overthinking issues you shouldn't be. Ew, I hate it. Help.
Multiplicity of reasons,
shut up.
But what I think it really means and should be said more explicitly is that you shouldn't pretend to be something that you're not. So they're like,
I like that better.
What do you do in your spare time? And you like to play video games, then say, I like to play video games. Don't make shit up to try to sound cool. And besides,
I do sports.
How you talk about something is way more important than what you're talking about.
I
Even
like
if you're into
that.
something like...
Oh my god, that's so true. Passion is like really, really contagious.
Coin collecting, you could be like, I like coin collecting. Did you know that just by holding one in my hand, I can tell you the year that any 10-cent coin was produced? And when they say, what, really? Why only 10-cent coins? You can say, because I only date dimes.
Oh my god. Oh my.
And then you show them your YouTube channel. The old 1-2 works every time. Now, unrelated, at a certain point you reach a difficult moment, which is figuring out if the date is going well. And girls and guys have their own distinct problems in this department. And from asking girls about their experiences on dates, the most common thing that seems to happen is thinking either, wow, why isn't he making a move? Or, oh shit, he thinks this is a date. On the flip side, the most common thing for guys to think is, I don't have a clue what's going on. Which actually explains just about everything. So if you do find yourself confused
This is so good.
moment, you just have to triangulate those perspectives and Sigmund Freud yourself deep in their psyche to figure it out.
Women aren't this complicated. And then the best part is you can actually ask them. You can be like, hey, wait a second. I just wanted to be certain. Are we on a date right now? I'm not entirely certain. I'd like this to be a date though.
And if that doesn't work, you can say you like.
And if she's crazy, she'll respond like really poorly. Let's continue. This is first dates.
So, very presumptuously, assuming the date went well, wherever you are, it's time to settle up the bill and leave. Now, today's day and age, guys are often confused as to whether or not they should be paying or splitting the bill or what. And really, the only person I know who said, well, he was great, but didn't pay for dinner, so that's a no.
Why are they Australian?
Is my mum. So don't make a joke about that unless you pay for her meal.
Yeah. Here is the reality. Is if you are finding a girl who requires you to pay for everything, it's just she's probably going to need you to pay for everything forever, right? If that's like fine with you, that's fine. But I just think that you should know what you're getting yourself into. Splitting, I prefer splitting. That being said, I also don't want to pay for him. So unless it's like I was insistent that, and it's a very expensive place, that might be different where I'm like, hey, I know this might not be food you want. It's a gold digger, not wife material. Well, I mean, it's fine. Let's say that you can be not affluent and, have somebody and be paying for your wife. But, we're the sugar mamas who pay for our dinner. Well, yeah, they exist. They do. Definitely more rare than a man, though. And I think it's culture. I think it's a shame with the culture, the expectations, because, and by the way, it just bothers me that it's presumptuous, I think, to be like, a man will pay for me. Someone will pay for me.
Sorry, Jen, you asked for this. But don't worry too much about it. If you're the one who asks them out, offer to pay. They might offer to split, and then it'll be awkward for a few sentences, but you guys will figure it out. Now, this is really the part where it gets interesting, because after you walk to the most proximal waypoint between both of your houses, you're going to stand there for about 5 seconds, glance down at your feet for a second, and say, and then you have to talk about your feelings. So what do? Do you set up a second date? Do you go for a kiss? Do you invite them to your place? Do you walk them home? Or do you kind of sit on the curb, talk for 2 hours, and then go home because you're both too scared to be emotionally vulnerable?
Actually, number 2 sounds like really nice.
I think at the very least you should leave saying you had fun and want to get together again, or get out of there and let them down softly with a text pretending it's you when it's really them. Now,
guys, this is so good.
Now, I know what you're all thinking. Casually explained, what do you think of people hooking up on a first date? And as long as you're not my neighbor and are both down with it, I couldn't care less. Nowadays, it seems like everyone is having sex before holding hands anyway. But with that said, while I'm not judging you for busting out the strap-on from day one, God certainly is.
I don't think, if you're doing that on the first date, you just did a hookup, right? Probably. I think a hug on the end of first date is fine. But yeah, you're closer to a friend with benefits. You just don't know this person, right? But anyway, yeah, for me, if I went on a date with somebody, I would actually be a little flabbergasted, I'm not going to lie, if the expectation was for me to pay for them. So I think that you should go on a date and be flabbergasted if the expectation is for you to pay for them. Be flabbergasted. Be like, why? Why would I do that? And they'll be like, because I want you to? Because that's what I expected of you? If you invited them out, you pay. But they agreed to go. I don't know. What do we think? Levels of wealth? Yeah, we'll do that.
When we think of money, it's usually in terms of what things we can buy with it. But your level of wealth doesn't only determine what you own, it can determine entirely what your life looks like. And I wanted to give a bit of an overview of what that could look like at some different intervals. Now, at the bottom of the pyramid, of course, we have the alcoholic, amphetamine-abusing lowlife who mooch off public services because they can't pay their debts or find a job. Fucking grad students.
Ah! Oh my god,
Disgusting.
Harvard Law School.
Next, we have the
And they're in debt. Yeah, they're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
working and middle class, which makes up about 90% of the population. Even though it might seem like they
No way, it's nuh-uh. It's grad students and then the working and middle
up
class.
about 90% of the population.
It's me.
Even though it might seem like they can't accomplish much compared to the elites of society, members of the middle class can work together to become much more powerful. As an example, with one roommate they can afford rent, but with two they can afford furniture. The middle class earns up to
We're working on it. Guys, us, fist pound. We're getting there.
$300,000 a year, but the median individual income is a lot more modest at $38,000.
Is that still accurate?
This can be pretty misleading though, because if you're 50 with a wife and two kids, $38K a year is pretty rough. But if you're 21 and single, you're buying resale Yeezys thinking, man, I wonder how much sex I'd have if I didn't live with my parents. So in
This is 7 years ago.
conjunction, I think there are a couple lifestyle indicators to check to see if you're in the middle class, such as your grandparents had 5 kids, your parents had 3 kids, and you're going to put a stop to it once and for all. And you don't have an emergency fund because you figure that if you're on vacation, your appendix gives out, why would you spend $20K on surgery when you could just die? So moving beyond the
They also aren't going to say no.
middle class, we get to the
They're gonna
start of your
fix it.
truly wealthy people. These are the notorious 1% who typically have an individual income of $300,000 or higher, or a net worth
Damn.
of over $8 million. Usually this means you have more than one home, active investments, travel whenever you want, and basically have the best of everything short of private jets and a Battlefront 2 season pass. But in the same way someone in the arts might wave their fist at an accomplished engineer,
That's me at the top. Logs, shut the fuck up. Logs, I'm gonna fucking kill him, guys. Actually, Shinobi, ban the dual logs. Don't do that. Do it. Don't do that.
there's a huge difference between people within the 1%. As an example, if you're worth 75 million, you have the ability to see almost anyone in the world just by asking. But if you're worth 75 billion, you have the ability to see almost anyone in the world without asking.
Wait, hold on. That's a good point. You can just show up.
But if you're worth 75 billion, you have the ability to see almost anyone in the world without asking.
He just shows
Once
up.
you're worth over $100 million, people use your first and last name when they talk about you. And if you're not famous, you at least
Or
have
you
a
don't have a
Wikipedia
last name.
page that you didn't make yourself.
Beyonce.
You likely make up to $10 million a year, which to compare with the more normal income is like going to Costco and paying $1.50 for a hot dog, but getting 100 hot dogs.
I guess.
I don't know why I left that in. At this point, your wealth is almost magnetic to more wealth, and ironically,
See, so
things
you're
start
rich.
costing less. I could pay $5,000 for a Gucci suit, and people might think I'm cool, but if I were actually cool, Gucci would have paid me to wear it. While it sounds pretty great, you might start to wonder if people like you for you, or only like you because you're rich and famous. Fortunately, though, you are rich and famous. So finally, at the very
You don't even
top
have
of the
to care.
pyramid, we have the people worth over $1 billion, the 0.001%.
It's gotta
Guys
be
like
less than
Elon, Jeff, Branson, and Bill. These people have so much money they can
Is this Branson guy? This guy owns is a CEO of Oracle, which for a second there he became the richest man on earth when he announced Oracle AI for like 5 seconds because the stock went woo like that.
literally change the world. Save the kids, done. Create your own space program, done. Dinner with the president, you are the president. You don't fly business, you buy the business. When you get pet supplies from Amazon, you mean the rainforest. And when you say, hey babe, how about I drive this time? You're talking to the car.
Oh my god, this sucks so bad. I don't even know, like their life must look so different. Why am I I'm one step away from being the grad student. Fuck.
If you look at the absolute top, Jeff Bezos recently overtook Bill Gates, and to be as rich as the two of them, you would have to earn about $5,000 every minute you were alive. They even said themselves, I don't think I could even spend the money if I tried. Fucking amateurs.
I could spend the money in like 4 days. Like genuinely.
Now with the pyramid capped off, if we step back, it does seem like the implication here is that your life gets better the more money you have, which brings about the age-old question of, does money buy you happiness? And from what I've looked at, I think the best explanation is that money won't buy you happiness, but it can make problems go away that make you unhappy. Like when you go
Yeah.
to take money out of your bank account and get charged a fee because there's no money in your bank account.
That happened to me the other day, and like I had money in a different account that I just needed to transfer, and I was like, if you keep this fucking $40 fee on my account, I'm literally going to switch banks. And they actually forgave it.
When you buy tickets online, you have to pay extra for doing all the work yourself. With that said, I wanted
true.
to end it at that point, but I showed my friend and she said, is that it? Is it just first world countries? What about the rest of the world? And, you know, like they say, you can't make your sneakers and wear them too. The good news is that my demographics show that there aren't many people in third world countries watching my videos.
Oh my God, that's a lot of views.
They don't have internet. So we'll worry about that another time.
Oh.
As a quick side note, if you want to get an audio version of any of my videos, you can go to the Castbox app or website and subscribe to the Casually Explained channel. Right now, I think there's only one video uploaded there.
You can check out his Castbox. I actually used to use Castbox. I don't really use it very much anymore. But money absolutely buys happiness. Yeah, I think that it probably like for the enlightened people of the world, it probably doesn't, you know? How fast do you think you could spend 1 billion immediately? I am buying like everything I've ever I am recreating, like I'm creating a genetic situation where someone can go clone me a Marissa from Street Fighter so that I can marry her. And then I'm going to get somebody who can train bugs and beetles to create Hollow Knight in real life. For a few years I had more money than I knew what to do with. Well, you did know what to do with it. You started the company. See? He knew. Glitch stars. Speaking of which, the Dreamers anniversary is coming up. Is that my next stream? Hold on.